All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do another tutorial. This won't be a full-length tutorial where you'll see everything start to finish. I'm going to kind of do pieces of it and upload those videos, so these will be shorter videos. But I am just starting off here. I'm using this Art Spectrum sanded paper. I chose this dark red color for that. And then the scene I'm going to paint today is going to be the snowy road scene. I thought it'd be fun to do a winter scene. And what I like about this is of course, the long shadows and the light here. So I like that. And then it's fairly simple, other than I'll have this misty, foggy, or maybe it's blowing snow, this kind of middle section there where you see like it's kind of misty or foggy there. I'll have to incorporate that in there as well. And so I'll definitely will film that process. And then I'm also going to film the start of it and how I start. Okay, so there is the reference there. I like the sun, I like the light, the long shadows, and snow is a lot of fun to paint. And of course you got, the trees and the sky and all that. So I thought it'd be a fun one to do. And there's my reference. This is a 9x12 Art Spectrum sanded paper. And then down here, I already picked out some colors here that I'm going to be using. So these, I'll show you these three right here. So this is the color I'm going to use for the shadows of the snow. These two are Neo Pastels, and this is a Mungio or a Van Gogh. It might be a Van Gogh. So different kinds of blues, and I'll use that for the shadows areas. I'll kind of use a mixture of these three here for that. And then for the white of the snow, I'm going to start off with these. And this is a Mungio here. These are both, I believe, Neo Pastels, so different kinds of grays. It's got some blue in it, but they're all a little bit different shade of grays there. And that'll be used for, the lighted areas. And then when I want to go really light and I want to bring a little bit of warmth, I'll be using scents, or except for this one's a Neo Pastel. So there is a little bit of yellow in the snow here from the sun. There's just a slight tint of it. So I'll be putting a little bit of that down there, and then we got the sun white and then the light gray sun, and these are my highlight colors. I'm going to save these guys for last. Okay, and then for the darks in the trees, I got, a dark green, I got the slate gray, got a couple of Prussian blues, I got 007 Sennelier, I got like a brown, Neo Pastel, and then kind of just a medium regular gray. So this is my palette to start off with. I might pull some more, but I kind of like to pull some colors together just to kind of get me going here. All right, so let's get started. We'll show you the first process or the first part of it, and then I'm going to turn it off, put some music on, work on it, and then I'll come back and I'll show you bits and pieces as I get through this painting. So this should be a fun one. All right, so let's get started. And before we go, got myself another puller. I like to have something to drink while I'm painting. I already had my lunch, so all right. Okay, let's get going. Let's see, what do we start with? Let's go with one of these grays just to kind of draw the scene out a little bit. So we have this wide road. You see how wide it is here in the foreground, how wide it comes off on the paper, right? So just try to match that perspective as much as I can, and I'll try not to move as much. I'm not using my little clamp for my phone for this section, for this painting anyways, just so I can stand directly in front of the easel here. But all right, so we have, let's see, the road kind of disappears right in the middle part of the painting, kind of right about there. That's where it kind of fades out of view from us. But up until that point, we do have the road kind of coming out to the side like that. And then over here, it does kind of do something like that, right? And that might change a little bit. And then let's see, back in here, I'm going to switch to a different gray. Back in here, this is just a regular medium. Feels like a Mungio, possibly a Mungio here. So I got some background trees here that I'm going to kind of just outline here with this. And this is, of course, the sanded paper. So I'm starting to like the sanded paper more and more and more and more. I really like the Art Spectrum. I'm trying to see if they have actually bigger sizes, bigger than the 9x12. They probably do. Yeah, let's put the background trees. I'm just going to kind of use this gray to kind of figure out where they're going to sit at, but really simple. Just keep this part simple like this, and then that part of a tree goes up like this. So, okay. Might as well just do the whole thing and just cover up the paper. Now, in hindsight, I should have chose a different color paper. I don't know. I kind of thought maybe the red with the complementary snow colors and the blues might be cool on top of this red paper, but I think I probably should have just chose a bluish paper or like a gray paper. I think that might have been easier for me because I'm gonna have to cover up a lot of this red. All right, and really those trees really come together here in the background as the road just kind of really just disappears. Actually, it looks more like that. Okay, and then let's just cover this all with the gray for right now. Yeah, this feels like a Mungio as far as the consistency of the oil wax. I can kind of tell just by the feel of it now, my fingers, what brand I'm using. Okay, so that's kind of where the road is. This is where the tree, background trees and stuff are going to be. All right, I'm just kind of blocking in at the moment. All right, and now let's switch over to some of these blues. So I'm kind of going to go in the snow. I'm kind of think I'm going to work from dark to light, meaning I'm going to put in these blues first. So let's get in like the shadow part first. And I'm just going to do this whole section of these kind of blues and see how that works. I think that's the better way to go for this. I tend to work dark to light anyways, and so the dark part of the snow is the blue parts, the shadowy parts, which is all just kind of different shades of blue. Okay, and the sandpaper is working really well to really shave that down. People ask me, how do you get details? And actually, if you take the papers off the pastel and just put it on its side, and you can really shave off and get some really crisp edges here that you then come back and use for lines. So that's why I always take papers off on most of my pastels. The only exception to that would be the Senneliers, where I leave the papers on because those things are so soft and creamy that you kind of need the papers for to hold on to them. Right, so this is a different blue here, obviously, so a little bit stronger, a little bit more color into it, and we're really going to use this as far as the rivets in the road, where the tire marks are going through it. Okay, so let's kind of put those in, and they just kind of disappear because it's all this section here is going to be all foggy area, right? So just kind of get those lines going. All right, back in this side, and we'll, this is the first layer, so got a ways to go here to cover up that paper, but just at least start getting the color down into it. Okay. All right, so that's a good start for that section. I'm going to go ahead and put these to the side, and then let's work on the sky. So if you look at the sky, it's really just really light blue, almost just a gray, like a really light gray that leans to the blue, right? That's kind of what I'm seeing there. So what I'm going to do is I grab this little nub, try to use these nubs all the way to the end here, and let's get some of these other colors off of it. But this is a light blue that kind of leans to or light gray that kind of leans to the blue. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cover the sky up. Yeah, it's a good color for that sky. It definitely leans to the light blue. Yeah, I really like the sandpaper a lot, actually. Might be something I go to more and more often. I just kind of sometimes want a bigger size than a 9x12. But this art spectrum's good. It's nice and thick paper too. It's really durable. It's thick. It's not flimsy or anything. All right, so yeah, let's get this sky in. Trying to keep offering different lengths of videos, so not everything's just a full length tutorial. I notice my YouTube algorithms. It's better for me if I have different types of videos and have different, shorter lengths. All right, so I'm really going to scrub this in because I think really the sky is mostly this color, and I really want to cover up that red in the paper. Okay, so I'm going to put a heavy application. I'm kind of pushing in to it a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to do the mist part later, and I'll definitely film that section so you guys can see that, because that's always a fun thing to do, to kind of do mist clouds or fog or something like that. It's a fun exercise, actually. Okay. Okay, thinking forward. Now I'm going to go back to my blues here, and I'm thinking I might want to add a little bit of blues to these grays because I'm looking at those background trees and I see that there's a leaning towards a blue back in there. So not very strong. It's going to be a light scrub there. Okay. Just kind of get those in. All right, so keep going. We're not going to blend yet. I like to get a little bit more going into this situation. Let's go in to get some of these Prussian blues, maybe this one and maybe this slate gray here, and let's put that down there. All right, so right here in the middle section of the painting, we have these trees here. You got these pine trees. You see how dark those are. You see the darks in there. Well, I think this Prussian blue will be a good dark for that. And then we have this big tree on the right here that's got these branches. And this is going to be a darker value because this tree is much closer to us than these trees. So for these trees over here, let's use this Prussian blue to kind of outline where those are going to be at. They're kind of sitting right about here. Okay. And it looks like there's about 4 or 5 of them kind of sitting in here. Kind of one off to the side there and another one right there. And this whole area is kind of just dark because they're closer to us. Okay. So we'll just kind of put those in there and maybe do something like that. Okay. Trying to make them different heights. If they're all the same, it's going to look really weird. So make them different heights and leaning different directions. That's a little bit more interest, I think. Right, and then they really disappear into the foggy, misty section here. And then we got this little one right here. And we got one sitting right there. Okay, so let's get in those trees, and you can still see that red of the paper coming through, so I really kind of want to cover that out there. And then over here, I'm going to go ahead and use the same one, but we're definitely going to darken this as I go through this painting. But I can just use this to draw in the big tree, and you can really see the trunk of this tree, and actually it starts about right there. And then we go up to almost to the very top. We do see some sky up there, right? And then kind of branches that kind of swoop like this, right? Kind of swoop down, and they swoop over here and swoop. Actually, they really swoop out. This tree is really wide as the branches really spread out. Okay, swooping, branching out. Okay. All right, we got the big tree. Just kind of get the branch motion going, right? Right, and this will definitely be darker. I'm just kind of, drawing it in here, trying to figure out where it's going to sit there. Okay, and maybe we'll put some darks kind of here at this edge, and maybe just a little bit, even though I'm going to cover a lot of that up. All right, so let's take a look. Pretty good start. Let me come back to this gray and just use it as a cover for the paper. Okay, and back in here we have those distant trees that have a different value to them. All right, and of course we do the light last, like the lights and the darks will be the kind of a last thing we add to this section, to this whole painting. Okay, so let's kind of go back to the snowy road again, and again just add another layer, just the whole thing. Okay, now we have some bushes here, and that'll be, not worry about the details of those right now. Really just cover the paper up, and there. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's take a look at it now. Here, so I haven't blended anything. I really, just put a couple layers down. just kind of get an idea of that painting here, right? And we can come back in with this blue here and widen these tire marks out, just like what the reference picture shows us. Okay. All right, now we're gonna blend. So I'm at the 12-minute mark here. I want to keep these kind of short, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop. But basically what I'm going to do next is start blending. And I'm just gonna grab one of my stumps here, and I'll just start this to show you what I'm doing. So I'm just taking the colors I put down and I'm just pushing it in. I'm pushing it in, like there's some pressure going down. And I try to blend in the direction of how the landscape looks, right? So since the road goes like this, that's kind of direction I like to blend in, okay? And really what I'm doing here and is just that. That's all I'm going to be doing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it, put some music on, drink some more Polars. All right, and I'll be back, so hang on.